Hi, I'm David Adams. I am your instructor for the project management course. We are now in the control the project phase, and we're holding our periodic meetings to update the project schedule as necessary. Sometimes during the project, you'll get a request for a scope change, and you need to be able to control the scope. Come with me as we learn how to control scope change. In this lecture, we'll learn how to do scope change. We'll first review the control the project phase and then get into the details of scope change. That is, understanding what scope creep is, how to make changes with control, and how to get that new scope change impact and new baseline in your project schedule. And we'll conclude by reviewing best practices. We learned in the last lecture that a project manager acts like a conductor to control the project. That is, recording tasks, completion, looking at the variances, and reconciling scope, time, and costs. But there are times when they need to manage scope change, and you need to do it correctly. And you need to communicate with the stakeholders through the entire execution. In my 30-plus years of project management, the only constant that I noted was there is change. Scope change is inevitable. Many times, a customer will look for some additional feature that they would like to have and will want a change. And that's okay as long as it's controlled, meaning it might impact the cost, the timeline, or the scope. And a scope change while the project's being executed is challenging because you're in mid-flight and you're wanting to change your wing. So I will show you the right way to go about a scope change. The biggest enemy in project management is scope creep. What is it? It's really changes without control. Those customers asking for additional things, say, hey, kind of do it on the side. And you know it affects the project schedule, the time and the cost and resource allocation. And it could compromise the milestone completion and achieving the goals. So you need to do it the right way. Don't let scope creep interrupt your project. So the right way is changes with control. That is, you're going to use a document, a project scope change document, and you'll make the adjustments to the project schedule and plan before you implement. You look at the impact to cost, time, and schedule, and scope, and once it's approved, then you can make the changes. As stated before, you need to get the customer to agree up front before the project starts. Anything extra requested after the project baseline is established is considered change. The project scope change template looks similar to the project charter. You list the proposed changes, the reason for change, and the impact to schedule, budget, or the specifications. When the project team reviews the scope change, if it's technically possible and the customer agrees to a push out of the time schedule and or additional cost, then the project change can happen. Another golden rule: get a signature, not just a handshake. So let's now take a look at our in-class case study, the Bolt Delivery App project. Janie Hodge, the customer, wants to add a GPS delivery tracking view to the new app. She feels that the addition will give them a superior edge to other delivery companies. A meeting was held with the engineering group and they said yes, they could do that task, but it would take 2 weeks for a cost of $20,000, and it could not be done within the same time frame of the original project, and it would have to be done after the market testing task. With a follow-up meeting with Janie Hodge, she felt comfortable with the additional 2-week extension and the additional $20,000 in cost. So now they need to put together the project scope change. Note that the Bolt Delivery App Project Scope Change Control document is located in the D2L Supporting Material module. Like the project charter, the project scope change has header information that includes all the key players. The proposed change, simply put, is the addition of GPS tracking of delivery for timely customer tracking. And why are they doing it? It's a new customer requirement. Came directly from Janie Hodge. The next section, schedule, budget, and/or specifications impact, detail all the information previously mentioned. And the one assumption and constraint listed is that the GPS tracking feature can be done in a 2-week period. And most importantly, both the project sponsor and the project manager and the customer all sign off on the project scope change. Once approved, the project manager can continue to add the additional tasks to the project schedule. Step 1 is adding line 26 to the project task worksheet, the GPS tracking feature. 2 weeks duration, $20,000 cost, and to be completed by engineering after the market testing task. Next, the project manager goes into the Project Gantt software and adds task number 26 after task number 12. By clicking on that task first, with a pop-up window, enter GPS tracking feature, enter 14-day duration, and choose a different color, such as pink, and then click OK. And as with adding any task, you need to enter in the resource. So by double-clicking again on task 26, you can select the resource tab on the pop-up window, enter engineering, and click OK. Task 26 cannot work in parallel with task number 12, the market testing, so you have to enter in a dependency. And you do that by double-clicking task number 26. In the pop-up window, select task number 12 for dependency and click OK. And that'll push out the schedule by 2 weeks. As a final step, you need to change task number 14, predecessor. You'll double-click on task number 14. In the pop-up window, you'll click on the Predecessors tab, change to Predecessor Task 26, and click OK. In the completed revised project schedule with the scope change, you'll notice a few things. At the very top, you'll see a revised project completion date of July 14th, 2023. And you'll see the addition of the GPS tracking feature, which is in series with the previous activities. So as part of the project record, you'll have the revised project schedule along with the approved project scope change document. And as done in Unit 6, you can save a new project schedule baseline. So in summary, there's some best practices to control the project. You need to hold your project status meetings to monitor the execution of tasks. Have those at least monthly. Then create actions for variances beyond the planned scope, time, and cost. And document. That is the project scope changes, and seek approval before changing the project plan and adjusting the project baseline. And never do a project change without having that in your project schedule. Until next time.